I was jamming out like I'm getting ready for Vegas. Like,
right?
Go.
Yeah, imagine that. Oh, you know what I just booked? I booked for me and Dalton and Brooke to go UTV riding in the friggin' desert on like fun trails.
What's UTV or ATV?
Yeah. All terrain. The like side by side.
Oh, the side by sides. Okay.
Yeah, we did ATVs, and I outrode my daughter. I was going up the hills and everything, and they were just like hangback rides.
Well, so I had reserved a 3-seater, and then I'm like, Brooke, it's the same price. We should like get you a 1-seater and let me and Dalton ride, and then we can like. So I gotta call them tomorrow and see if I can change it. But I wanted to go like kayaking, but it's gonna be cold the whole time we're there, which sucks. So I don't know if I want to go kayaking. Anyways, happy Tuesday, everybody.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Taco Tuesday. I just finished recording all of my videos for 2 weeks, so I'm extremely tired. I've been sitting here for hours. Just heads up to you guys. So everybody else is fresh, and I think I'm not fresh, but that's okay. I am Kat, the nurse flipper. I'm joined by my co-host Rod, picking and punching. Catty corner is Miss Ladonna. She's in the chat with us almost all the time. Bayou, Belle, Vintiques. And below me, thank you for filling in last minute, is Mike, Deathpile picker. So we appreciate him for being here so much that we put him in the hot seat. That's his prize. Yeah.
I'm sorry my super chat couldn't come through. I want to show you. It will not let me come through, but I put a $5 super chat that said "Show Naked Kevin." And it will not let me process it. I'm sorry.
For filling in, we'll give you Naked Kevin at one point in time.
We'll give you, we'll totally give you Naked Kevin. So I'm gonna make Mike big, and then Ladonna, and let them introduce themselves, and then we'll get to your questions. Get them in early if you guys want to make sure they get answered, because sometimes we can't get to them all. So here is Mike.
Hey, everybody, Mike, the Deathpile picker. As Mike Metco just stated, Mike's always in the hot seat. So, YouTube channel's Deathpile picker. I'm also part of the Reseller Leftovers podcast here on YouTube, and do primarily selling on eBay, and then as well pushing through a lot of stuff on Dibdit right now on all the subsidiaries. So, awesome to meet y'all. Those that already know, awesome to see y'all again.
Perfect. Here's Miss Ladonna.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Ladonna, Bayou, Belle, Vintiques. I am out of the frozen tundra, Omaha, Nebraska, which is currently in a blizzard right now. So we're having tons of fun. I sell on Etsy, eBay, Mercari. I also sell on Virtual Antique Marketplace, RAN, which are both on District, as well as YouTube Live stuff.
Perfect. Oh, where's the button? There's the button. All right. When is the Reseller Remix event? I believe the welcome starts on Monday, but the actual events start on Tuesday. And then I am speaking on Wednesday. Mike put it through for you. I'm speaking on Wednesday, and Rod is speaking on Thursday, and Scott King and Carrie, Carrie American Arbitrage is speaking on Thursday as well.
Speaking with me.
Yes, together. Did you turn in your thing? So
every event I spoke at, I never did a presentation. So I sent them an email saying that I can come up with one if needed, but we're very interactive. We interact with the crowd a lot. And me and Carrie, when I spoke at, the event, this Perfectly event in Arizona, I didn't have one. And I did a panel at the, what was the one that Harry Tornado did in South Carolina? I forget
I didn't make it to that one. The first time I was supposed to speak and I had COVID. And then the second time I just couldn't go.
Yeah. I spoke
what
there
the heck
too.
was the name of it? I mean, it's done now, but didn't Teresa bought it, right? Teresa Cox? FlipCon. Thank you, Velvet Chat.
Thank you. Yeah. So I spoke in a panel with with Kevin and Philly Flipper and Kevin Commonwealth Picker. We all spoke on like a panel there. So we didn't have a presentation there. So I pretty much said that I don't have a presentation, but I can come up with one if needed. But ours is very interactive. What are you actually doing your topic on?
Mine is going to be buying from online auctions. My specialty.
So we're going to be focused on the autonomy of a garage sale, but mostly focusing on the tips and tricks that we use and how we are able to score a lot of big finds and other things, and pretty much do a deep dive into that. So
that's cool. Yeah, I was on a panel with Kevin in Phoenix.
Oh, okay. Sorry for that. It's probably miserable, wasn't it? Pretty miserable.
It was an experience.
You'd rather go to the dentist than be in a panel with Kevin. I understand. I can read your face right now. So
I don't understand how the Romans tie into reselling, but whatever. Go ahead, old guy.
All right. We got $5 to play Naked Kevin. So if you guys have not seen this, beware, cover your eyes. Mike paid for it. Here it is.
Never gets old. It just never.
It usually costs a good dinner and a can of Zen, but I mean $5. That's cheap as you're going to see that.
Yeah, Karen, I think it will be interesting and fun. Any of you that are close to Vegas should definitely think about coming out and meeting us and hanging out. There's night events too. They do a bar crawl. I know I just told you guys me and Brooke are going to be doing the all-terrain vehicles. And then me and Brooke are also going to zip line Fremont Street, which is going to be fun. So we've got in Dalton, we're going to Spy Ninja. We have a bunch. We're there for 6 days. So we're there for a few extra days. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And I will be there on Monday. No, I'm actually getting there on Saturday. So I'm going to celebrate, me and the wife, we're going to celebrate our wedding anniversary a couple days earlier, but Mrs. Punchin will be there for the first night on Monday night, the meet and greet, and she's got to fly back to Tampa. So the cat's away, the mice will play. Cat, you know what they say.
I have no cat. I'm just, or I guess I have no. I don't know. Whatever.
You have no cat. You're now the mice that's free all the time.
Yeah, that. What? Yeah, that. I don't know. All right. This question came in super early. This question came in at 2:00 this afternoon. So Miss Beverly said she's going to be traveling to Portugal, Spain, and Morocco. So does anyone know what type of items to source in those countries? And she said mahalo ahead of time. An easy one for you, Mike.
Yeah. No, because I've never traveled to any of those places. I've traveled to other places in Europe, but I mean, there you're just, if you take it from other people that have traveled over there, a lot of it is look for your street vendors, because they will sell some classical stuff, especially if they're set up outside of antique shops. But hit up antique shops, because you're going to find something that can resell more over here because of the limited availability versus what it would sell over there. That would be my advice. Rod, what are your thoughts?
Oh, don't skip Ladonna, Mike.
I'm kidding. Ladonna, go ahead.
Man. Rude. No respect.
This is going to be a mess. I'm just forewarning you guys.
So if you don't know, I grew up in Europe. My dad was military, and we moved every 3 to 6 months. So if it were me, and I just happen to have some items around here by me, I would look for odd things. So this is actually a piece of carved wood. Creepy cells. I would look for, creepy dolls though. I would look for these copper type frames.
Micro mosaic?
No, it's actually turquoise.
Oh, it's like inlaid turquoise. I see it now.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. And something to be on the lookout in Spain is
a little devil.
Little guy. Yes. He is an enamel brooch, and he is from Spain. So while I love to sell Portuguese, Spanish pottery, that is a pain to get back when you're traveling. So I would look for things like that. Well, that are easy to pack, but can give you a fairly decent return on them. And textiles, tapestry, look for those.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you, but our answers could not be so far different from each other on this one. Let me tell you, I've been to Spain and I did some sourcing, and I have a little show and tell for you guys as well. And it's going to be pottery, all right. It's going to be
Mike, we're not very well traveled.
Not news. We can't do news, though.
LaDonna's got visual aids, and she's stealing cherubs off of churches, and she's like ready to go.
All right, so on my honeymoon, I went to Barcelona, and then we ended up going to Florence, and then we went to Rome. But I came across this shop out there, and these actually sell really, really well. It's called Caganera, I think. And what it is it's a pooping farmer. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with this, all right, let me explain. So, they have these little statues, and it's.
I wish I had something good in here, but I don't.
And he's pooping. So it symbolizes that they put those in their oh my god, on Christmas, where they have the whole nativity scene. They actually put that in the nativity scene because what it is if a poor farmer does that, it enriches the land. And so if you find that in the nativity scene, it helps enrich your Christmas and stuff like that. But they have these stores that are the most ridiculous thing in the world. You know, when I show you this, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. But they have
you give people poop for Christmas.
They have all kind of different figurines. Here's Mario, and this is what you get. They have a whole. They literally have shops. I am dead serious. They have shops all over Spain that you get these little figurines.
Like what?
I look it up. And here, I'm being dead serious. Google it. It's
Yes, Gino, you're a poor farmer. You got it down. You got it perfect.
You're the kind of person that says antique on listings that are like 15 years old.
Bro, I guarantee if I put this on eBay, these things I think one sold for like $100, like because no one else has them because they're from Europe. Yeah, so they have stores, and they have all the pop culture characters and stuff that they literally have stores all over Barcelona. When I went there, and they actually had these. It's the craziest thing ever. And then they give you like this little pack goes along with it. So I got like all like the video game characters, and I got like a bunch of other like Marvel characters and everything else. So that's why I was laughing when she was showing her figurines and stuff like that.
I hate to know what Iron Man is showcasing.
Oh, it's actually like bolts. I think that's what he drops. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. LaDonna has creepy like haunted doll heads. I don't know that that's much. Yeah, and he brought home a pooping Mario. Like,
I brought home like several, actually.
Several pooping characters.
But I'm telling you, yeah.
I've not been over there. But I'm going to agree with LaDonna and say, and somebody, where'd it go? Somebody in the chat said it. They would look for tiles. So one of, where did it go? Old tiles.
Jeans was another.
That was for picking. One of the 6 videos I made today was on tiles. They are going to blow your friggin' mind when you see that research video. Single tiles over $1,000. Look for tiles. I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to agree with the textiles for sure. I would be like tiles shouldn't be too horrible to transport, not like glass and stuff. And definitely
those little 4x4s.
Oh, 4x4 ones. Some of them sold $700, $800, $900 for a single tile. It was like I blew my own mind. I knew they were worth money. I didn't realize how much some of them are really worth. It was absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right. T Messer says, I've started offering returns with buyer pay shipping, but can I state in my listing that shipping both ways is paid by the buyer unless I am at fault, or will I have to eat the initial shipping cost?
Oh, it's me.
Yeah. You're a quick one, buddy.
Yeah. So you on a return, you wouldn't eat the initial shipping cost. You would they would pay the return. And am I correct in this? You got to tell me, because I'm the same way. Like I was offering free returns, but then it turns out I was offering free returns, but then it ended up clicking over to offer return buyers paying the return shipping. So they would pay the return shipping and the initial shipping would be basically washed out. Is that correct? Or you have an option to refund both is the correct answer, I believe. Don't ask me. I'm horrible. I don't know. Hey, if it's my fault, I send it all back. If I don't, if it isn't, they get half. There you go. That's what I do.
Yeah. I don't do free shipping, period. It's buyer shipping both ways, unless it is something I missed on it. So it's a case by case basis. And a lot of times I find, depending on what the item is, when they message you and you remind them that they have to pay return shipping, sometimes they will decide not to return it once they go to the post office and find out the shipping.
How much it costs.
So
Yeah.
on my listings, I have buyer pays return shipping, but depends how a buyer opens up the claim. Because if the buyer opens up as not as described, you're screwed. It doesn't matter if they just want to return it or make up an excuse for it. You're going to have to pay for the return shipping. So even though you had that in there, it is stated that, we are responsible for the item to match the description or anything like that. But if the buyer chooses the option for not as described, then you have to pay the return shipping. So unfortunately, you have some buyers out there who will buy things and will open up return and you'll get it back and it's completely fine. And there's nothing you can really do about it at that time. So it's just cost of doing business.
Yeah, so it's automatically going to give it back if they do the not as described or like broken or whatever. But so I wouldn't state it because that's policy. If it's your fault, then you can refund them that shipping. If not, then you don't have to. I think putting it in it would maybe make you look like a little bit of I'm not going to say it. Mike said I'm not allowed to cuss. So yeah, I wouldn't put it because I wouldn't put it. I can't think. I told you. All right. Miss Elena wants to know, how do you share screen on what sold on eBay without showing the name of the customer when you're doing a what sold video? Hold on. I'll tell you because does it show the name?
No.
Oh, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So, hold on. So when I'm going to share my screen. It's the only thing I have open. So, the buyer's name on here, when I open the order, is actually right above this line. Now you see it. Whoops. So I just scroll down is all I do. And when I edit, I also zoom in. So like let's see if this works. Is it working? No, it's not. Whoa. So I do like this and zoom it in where it fills the screen. And you can just Control+ to make that happen. So
yeah, and I'll show you on mine, the buyer's right there below it. And so I just cut off that one line. Yep. And then I'll pop it in the YouTube video. And that's for like picking when I'm looking at like soul comp, stuff like that.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Mine, I Photoshop. I mean, I screenshot it from my phone and then drop it to my computer. And I do the same thing Mike does, just cut it off. So.
Unless I got negative feedback, then I include their address in the screenshot.
I should do that. I just got a negative feedback. Because they told me that this is an amazing tapestry and I wish they'd return it because they got it too cheap. And they said, this is a placemat, not a tapestry. It's a hand embroidered, like gorgeous tapestry. And they left negative feedback and said it was a placemat. And I'm like, send me it back because you got it too cheap anyways, you ding dong. Anyways, Trash Cat Rescue wants to know, does using a small clip-on microphone help or hinder with live selling?
That I'm not sure. I don't have a clip-on microphone, and my only issue is because researched into getting a DJI, like the action camera and the Osmo, like because it has the tracking and if I'm moving across my garage. But on the reselling apps, you have to operate that through the DJI app, and it won't work if it's paired up somewhere else. So I've never even looked into the microphone. I want one just for the GoPro element, and that still doesn't help my mumble. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I don't use one for live selling. I just use either my iPad or my phone, depending on what platform I'm selling on.
So for me, I don't, when I live sell, because you have to be close to your phone because you're hitting buttons and stuff like that. I mean, some people can use an iPad or other things or the computer when they're doing live selling, but having the phone close by to you, it usually picks up everything. So you don't really need to have a microphone when you're doing, live selling. So for me, I mean, I have microphones that I do that I never use, but you don't need one for live selling. I just use my cell phone, and my cell phone picks up. I mean, the cell phones are good enough now to use as a camera, as video record for YouTube, do all your photos for eBay and all your listings, and you can actually use it for all your live sellings. Pretty much everyone I know does all their live sellings off their cell phone. It has no issues with the sound. You just make sure you're not walking at a site and you come back if you're within 6 feet, 8 feet, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't use mics for anything. I did like years ago when I first started the channel, but like mine that I'm recording with and that I use as a webcam is actually a vlogging camera, so the microphone's pretty decent on it. And my GoPro I don't use sound from, so I actually do voiceovers. So for me, I've never had anybody complain that they couldn't hear me when I'm live selling. If I did, then I might consider a mic, but I've never had anybody say that they had a hard time hearing me while I was doing it.
Or you wouldn't know anything if no one heard you.
Right. Yeah, very true.
A great source to reference that is, like Kat said, she does the voiceovers, and then you can even watch Rod's video, and you will see the difference between what the GoPro mic has and then when Rod does his voiceovers, and that's the microphone quality that you can expect even on live selling.
Yeah, because you're just using the phone mic to do voiceovers most of the time. I do anyways. All right. Rolling with Stones wants to know, has anyone heard about the new tax credit available to anyone who received a 1099 for e-commerce sales in 2021 due to COVID?
Nope. That's my answer. Nope. It's more in depth than normal.
I thought I saw a blurb somewhere about it, but
I feel like I didn't
see anything. Yeah, I can't remember where I saw it though.
So if I'm not mistaken, I think if there's like ads going around like on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that about it, I think it's up to like 23 or $30,000. I don't know. It was like either like 20 or 30,000. I thought I could have swore I saw it. Don't quote me on that. I haven't looked into it, and I just continued to do what I'm doing now. So yeah, I haven't looked into it or anything else. But I know there is something going around about that. I did see something about that. I just don't know anything about it to talk about.
Yeah, I think that's where I saw it, was like an Instagram advertisement is what I saw. I didn't look into it. Yeah, it does. I feel like it does sound like a scam too. Wolfman sent a $10 super chat just for me to read his dad joke. I'm scared to read this. 2 fish were swimming in a lake and they ran into cement and one of them said, "Damn." That is totally a dad joke. I have new thingies. Gino, don't be mad. Okay. I have new thingies. Here you go. That was loud. Thank you for your dad joke. Laura says, how often do you end and sell a particular item?
I don't do it particular. Across the board. So usually within a month, like I'm going to rotate and I'll just end and sell similar, because I don't list a lot, but I want to keep them fresh. So each week I'll just go through and let's say a quarter of what I have. I'll try and work on those, work through it.
and I don't do it.
So for me, the only ones I end that are over 90 days. Now, some of those might be 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, depending when I get around to do it. I try to, when I remember, I try to do it daily. I take like 5, 10, 15 a day to try to do. I mean, I have 1,400 items listed, but I try to do those just to keep some items fresh. And I like to do it first thing in the morning because then hopefully it gives me some traction in my store as I try to list other new items in my store as well. So.
Yeah, so I try and do 3 months as well. I try to do them on the day that they're ending. And I know, and I'm going to try and do a video about it once I get back from Vegas. List Perfectly just came out with End and Sell Similar, like one touch. So I'm super excited about that. And I'm not sure which platforms it's on. I don't know if any of my LP people are in here that might know. But I do 3 months, but I don't want to do it when it's not ending anyways, because then it's going to double count for listings for me. And I have 8,000 listings and I have a 10,000 item store. So if I did that on 4,000 items, like today I relisted, I ended and sold similar 137 to give you an idea. So it's normally between 100 and 150 a day that I end and sell similar. And I just manually do that in bulk. And then I have to link them for List Perfectly, which takes about 20 minutes. So I'm excited. Oh, look, let me click this question. Did you all pay up for LP for auto delete, or do you just delete your own? And who else besides me on the panel uses LP? Am I the only one?
No, I use it.
I do not.
Did you pay up to have the auto removal? Yeah,
Mhm.
it's not just that though, and that I'll do a video on it.
Yeah.
So the highest tier is not just the auto delete. Obviously, that's a big thing, but now they've got the End and Sell Similar. They've got the AI Express Lister that creates your listings from photos. It's not just the ending. So I'll try. I need to do a new LP tutorial video. I have not done one in I think over a year or two. So I'm going to put that on my list for when I get back from Vegas. But I think the time that's saved is well worth it. And it sounds like LaDonna agrees with that as well.
Mhm.
Passionately Collected. On eBay, is it worth it to list in 2 categories? And if you think it is, how often do you do it?
I can't speak to is it worth it. I never do it. I'm going to find the best item as far as the soul comps and then shoot for that category, the ones that are going through at the best price.
Right. I wouldn't do it because you have to pay extra if you list multiple categories, and I really don't see the benefit in doing something like that.
Yeah, the only times I've ever done listing like multiple categories, if it was a super rare or a very valuable item that I thought it would help have it sell faster. But I mean, because it costs extra money, I don't normally do it. I just say if you put a great title and you put a proper price, you shouldn't have to list it in multiple categories.
Mhm.
So and if you have a fast sell through rate on it, so.
Yeah, I have never listed in 2 categories. Because I feel like most people, myself included, use the search bar. Like I don't search. The only time I narrow it down by category is when I'm doing research videos. If I am only wanting, like I did Art Deco was another one I did today. So I searched Art Deco and jewelry, but I did all of jewelry.
That was a feature that was a big feature they brought in probably like 20 years ago, like literally. So I think that's just been there from day one. That's why you guys still have an option for that feature and be charged. But I remember when they brought that out, that was really big back in the day, but that does pretty much fall to the wayside over time.
So I'm going to throw this up here real quick. Angry Otter React says it's the self-employment tax credit for 2021. Yep. It's $32,200. So was it not available in 2021 and now it's available to us? Is that what it is? I'm going to ask my accountant about this. And then I'll get back to you guys. But if you know, then let us know, because I'm all about an extra $32,000 credit if I can get one. I think we all should be. All right. Ginger is asking, so about the 2 different categories, which I think most of us just said we don't do. I think you have to do it. You would have to do it on the browser, and you can just hit add a second category. But I really don't think it's worth the money. I really don't. All right. Karen wants to know what software and apps do you use?
As far as listing, it's going to be strictly eBay app and then the district app. And I still have Whatnot, but I just don't participate. Like, I barely even go on there to watch the show. So it's really narrowed down to those 2. And then social media. I'm guessing we're not talking social media. No.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. I mean, I
use like LP, photo room, like stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll use photo room as well, and that's just for the background removal. But now even phones have that. I just happen to already have it and paid for the permanent version, and I stick with it. It does great work.
So I use photo room, Canva for my thumbnails, video editing type activities, and then List Perfectly.
How long do you guys have? So I use
and WorthPoint.
So I use all the selling apps, eBay, Mercari, Posh, Whatnot, District. I use for my photos. I do use photo room, so I can batch my photos at one time. For cross listing, I use Vendu, so I can cross list like Whatnot. The biggest reason I use that is because of Whatnot, and I can actually add static listings right to Whatnot. And I, believe it or not, I get more sales on the Whatnot marketplace than I do on the Poshmark and Mercari combined. On that, and it's easy for me to move stuff over from my card shows. But I do most of my stuff now on Dibbit and Dibbit cards and Dibbit threads. For software, I also use Canva to create images. I also use iMovie to edit, movies and stuff like that. I use InShot. I use captions to put, if I want to put captions on something when I'm speaking. That's another app I use. I'm trying to think here. I know I'm missing something. WorthPoint. I do use WorthPoint to look up pricing on items. And I use Google Image a lot. That's a big one because the amount of garage sales. If I can't pull it up, I take a picture of it real fast. So that's a big one to help me identify items. InShot. Yeah.
I typed it for you, Karen.
Yeah. And what else? I think I'm missing something, Kat. Maybe you were saying something.
iMovie. What you use?
iMovie to edit that, and then
I'm gonna have to look through.
Yeah, but you can also use those programs to upload like videos and stuff like that to eBay or like District app or to like the District marketplace, like Commons or something like that.
Okay, so all the platform apps, eBay, Etsy also has Etsy Seller, so there's 2, Etsy Seller, eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, District. I use Smart Sizer for measuring. That is only available on the iPhone. I use Photo Room to remove backgrounds. We use WorthPoint to look up stuff. I wanted to put this up here because Jesse said WorthPoint is a must. WorthPoint is not a must for everybody. It really depends on what you sell. And like myself, Rod, Ladonna, Mike, like if we're selling one-off vintage items that aren't sold often, it is more than worth its money for us and makes us hundreds and thousands of dollars more a year. So for us, it's a must. But if you're selling everyday common items that are very easy to look up and research, you don't need WorthPoint. Okay, here's the thing. This is a soapbox thing for me. Okay, with any of these apps. Okay, you're losing money if you're selling stuff that's on WorthPoint and you're not utilizing it. You are losing money by saying it's too expensive. One item will pay for a year of WorthPoint if you are buying the right things. And I had a little zebra ashtray I picked up in Key West for $1 at a yard sale. It was from a nightclub in New York. None had sold in 3 years. I would have priced it maybe like $39. I looked it up on WorthPoint. It sold for almost $400. That one little ashtray just paid for my whole year of WorthPoint, let alone all of the other items I look up. So you're costing yourself money if you really need that program. Same thing with List Perfectly. Do you want to spend 10 hours creating listings that I could do in 30 minutes on List Perfectly? How much money is your time worth? Mine's worth a lot. So anything that's going to save me time, I'm willing to pay for. So here's the thing, Anna. Even if you're a beginner, if you're buying the type of things that you need WorthPoint for, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner. And that, like, this is probably a good example. This bracelet is a Cadman. It is a Navajo bracelet, and it's listed at $2,300. Okay. Now, if I hadn't found it on WorthPoint, like, say this is the first item I listed, at that point, it's worth it for me to have WorthPoint. So what I always tell everybody is that if you're trying to look up items and you run into WorthPoint over and over and over, it's time to get it. Now, if you can find your items without WorthPoint, that's fine. But if you keep running into it, you need it. And I'm not one to push it if you don't need it. I don't want you to spend money you don't need to spend. But I don't want you to lose, I don't want you to sell that ashtray for $40 when it's worth $400 either. You know, so I mean, you have to be really smart about it. And if you need it, you need it. So if you run into it, then get it. And I think they have a 7-day, 7-item lookup, I'm pretty sure. So you could try it out for a week. So for me, Photo Room, List Perfectly, all the selling sites. I use KindMaster to edit my videos. And I think that's it.
I got a bunch more I totally forgot about.
I'm gonna look. You tell them, and I'm gonna look through too. I have CapCut too because Rod told me, and captions because Rod told me.
So here's gonna be a couple. So some of these you guys may not know about, or you guys might want to write down. But there's an app called WhackStat. If you guys want to look to buy boxes of cards, you can actually scan the UPC code of a box, and it tells you online where the cheapest place to get it is. So that's a good one. To find yard sales and garage sales, I use GSailor, and I also use Yard Sale Treasure Map. There's apps you can download. Now, they don't work all over the country, but I do travel over to go highway sales and stuff like that, and they do work in most states. Some states use it more than others. I use Craigslist, believe it or not, a lot because you can still find deals on Craigslist on there. Price charting is a good app to use. You can actually add. So if I go to make a video game buy or something like that, I can quick look up, and they actually keeps track of all the items I can add to a bundle. So that's a quick way to quick use. Key Collector, that's a big one. People always ask me about comic books, price of comic books. What Key Collector does is it actually gives you, so let's just say there's 500 Amazing Spider-Man comic books. Out of those 500, it breaks down where the keys and minor keys. So a key book is like the first appearances and stuff like that. Minor keys might be like second, third appearance, or like a minor thing that happened. But those are usually the more valuable comic books. So it automatically tells you right away. And if you find like a box of 500 Spider-Man comic books, you can quick look and see what the most expensive ones are within a few minutes and quick scan through. I use that a lot to help me out. Phoenix Resale has an app called Quick Flips, where you can actually quick scan a video game. It actually tells you what it sells on multiple platforms and what he may buy it from you for. I also use the Amazon Seller app, even though I don't sell on Amazon. I used to have an Amazon selling account, but it's a quick way to scan items to see if they would sell on there. So if you guys do, that's why I tell you networking is key. If you guys do know Amazon sellers, you can find Amazon sellers in the around the area. You can actually usually get at eBay prices or above eBay prices selling to an Amazon seller. So I use that app. 130 point is good to find what best offers actually sold for. So if you don't have WorthPoint, 130 point is a good way to look at too. So usually when I'm trying to find sports cards, I took the best offer and trying to see there, I use 130 point. TerraPeak in the eBay app can go back up to 3 years of data. So that's another one. You can quick look things up and kind of look at that. Market Movers is another one for sports cards. Card Ladder for sports cards. You can quick scan the card and look up. TCG app, look up Pokemon cards. So yeah, I have a laundry list of apps that I do use.
Okay, I'm adding a few. GoPro Quick for my thrifting videos is what I use to transfer my footage to my phone. Mile IQ, I was using, I stopped, but I think I'm going to get rid of my truck. And if I do that, I might go back to mileage again, which means I'll use Mile IQ if I do. One Shop is what I'm currently using to end my listings and relist them on Poshmark and Mercari. But once I figure out the new feature on LP, I will get rid of One Shop. Tax Vault is actually an app my accountant made that anybody can use. It's Tax Vault, and you can upload like all your 1099, so you have them all in one place and have like photos of them. If you guys want to download that, he made that. It's on Android and Apple. And then UShip, I very, very rarely use it, but I do have that app to check freight because I do have a few furniture pieces, and occasionally I've had smaller items worth like $2,000-$3,000. Those I would rather freight than box up and send through UPS or FedEx. So UShip is the other one that I use too. Rod has more apps than Silver Hair Stacker has wrinkles.
That's funny. I'm not gonna lie.
I should give you Rod for that one. You should definitely get Rod. Here you go.
Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time.
Keep picking and punching.
There you go.
Okay, let's see. New Life Curator wants to know, what was the first item you sold on eBay?
I'll say getting back into it, it was a camera that I found on Facebook Marketplace. I spent $500 on this massive bundle, and then I think I ended up selling everything for, I want to say like $1,300 or so. That was after fees. And, you know, it wasn't super good profit, but looking at it, I could tell that it had a good rate. So I made that $800. I was going to use it to start my flipping business. And then my wife said that was too much profit and gave me $300. And then she kept the other $5. But that was it.
So I actually, let's see. I actually started on Etsy first. I didn't start out on eBay, and mostly glass is what I sell. I sell a lot of Murano type items. So it was probably a lilac color Ericsson ashtray with the little matchstick holder matching that went with that. And I think that was like $250 that I sold that for. And I found it in an antique mall for $40.
You know, I really don't remember the first item I sold. It had to probably be like action figures or sports cards. That's because that's what I originally got on eBay was to buy. I started buying sports cards because I was working with the Philadelphia Eagles, their training camps. So I was getting cards signed and stuff like that. And I was collecting action figures. So I think it had to be either action figures or I think it was action figures. The first thing I sold on eBay.
I remember the first thing I sold on eBay in 1999. And it was a chestnut rose plant because I was a stay-at-home mom with my older son, and there was a plant nursery right next door, and I would sell them on eBay, and then I'd go buy them because I knew he had hundreds of them. And that's what I started with on eBay was plants. So I'd buy it for like 50 cents and sell it for $10, which in 99, that's like a really good markup, I think. All right. Mr. Bill Snyder says he's getting ready to start selling on Dibdit, and he needs to know what tech he needs to stream and set up shows. Like, do you know what generation iPad, how much memory, or anything? And his name is Wild Chihuahua Pickers.
Well, I can tell you, we had somebody, I used an iPhone 11, so I know the capabilities are there. We had somebody with an iPhone 7. They do not have the capabilities to operate district. So there's a breakdown there. If you can, Mr. Snyder, just reach out to me on Instagram, or you can shoot me a email at deathpilepicker@gmail, thedeathpilepicker@gmail.com, and I'll answer your question. But go ahead and you can sign up for district right now and just be a purchaser. You can shoot me a message there, and I can get you the answer as far as figuring out what components you have. But other than that, it is simply just a phone. It'll work with an Android device, but you have limited capabilities. You would have to upload your items using your desktop or laptop and then run your show. You don't have the capabilities of doing co-streaming, but you can still have independent shows. But with an Apple device, you can have co-streaming, load everything from your phone, list your items, and conduct shipping and everything from your phone. Otherwise, you got to rely on your computer.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that too is if you do plan on selling on there and you plan on making it a weekly or monthly thing, it's worth even if you don't have one that currently works, like it's worth spending that $100, $200 just to buy one. All you need is you can buy a used phone or a used iPad, something that connects to the internet. It doesn't have to have phone service or anything like that. It just has to connect to the internet. But the big key thing is, I mean, they're going to release the Android app down the line. It's in beta right now. But I mean, until that happens,
you can use it. I've used it.
You can use it, but you can't co-stream with people. You can't do so that the big thing we do
can
on
live sale though.
You can to a point, but it's a lot more difficult.
Minimal.
Yeah. So like to get the best experience and the least frustrating experience, not to mention on debit cards on debit, we do raid trains on there a lot of times. And we co-stream with people because we want people to be able to, like, for example, if I had someone co-stream me, they can help increase their audience. And that's the whole purpose of co-streaming. So everyone can build a following on there. And we do that monthly on there. So you want to take advantage of all those features. So I would say try to see what you have currently. You can reach out to Mike there. He can get that taken care of for you. But if you don't, like, I would look online, just buy a cheap one for like $100, a used one, and it'd be worth its weight in gold because of the, all the money you can make down the line from doing shows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything to add. Go ahead, Ladonna. I'm going to let him sit here.
I use my iPad because it's a bigger screen.
Which one do you have? Can you tell him?
I have an iPad Pro. So, but I had that before, I started using District. But I absolutely love using that so I don't have to look at a tiny screen. It's, so that's another thing to consider.
I just accepted an offer on him for $127.
Nice.
He was already 40% off, but he doesn't have a stand, so he's kind of broken and raggedy. But
I don't know if you guys saw in the chat, Karen with a C actually was nice enough and wrote down all the apps that me, Kat, and everyone on the panel here we're talking about, and posted in here multiple times. So there's actually multiple ones. So if you guys go back in the chat, you guys can write down any of the apps that we did say or that you guys want to try out or use. These are good resources. So Karen, thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah, and I will definitely take that into account. Somebody was asking if we could tell about the apps we use. I will think about it, but all of us are using different apps, so you'll at least get some of them. I think I've done one. I think Scott did one too, didn't he? I think Scott did one similar to that. I feel like I might have, but I mean, I might do a new one. I know I need to update my LP one. There's a couple of videos I need to update for sure.
Ben did one a while back. I remember like a year or two ago. So he did one on YouTube, but yeah, something we can do. I mean, like Kat said, it's going to be different for everybody. So, but yeah, something that we specifically use for our business.
Kat, with that.
Oh, look at that. That's crazy. That glows really good.
So Kevin, the Commonwealth Picker, he actually has a little keychain he does, which has a black light that you attach to your keys. You have that too?
They gave it to us at Phoenix, I think.
Yeah. Those are great.
I don't like the keychain, but what I did find on Amazon, it's probably about up to here, and it's really tiny. It's like a pen, half of a pen size. And that's what I use. And the other thing about a black light is if you shine it on ceramic and other glass, if it was repaired, the black light is going to reflect the repair.
Good to know. Kat,
All
you
right.
see my shirt here?
Is
I
it Red
told
Hot Chili Peppers?
You would think that. I told my wife that we were going to Red Hot Chili Peppers concert, and she told her to get me a T-shirt, and this is what she bought me: Red Hot Silly Peppers, and she thought it was the funniest thing in the entire world that she bought me a
I
Red
do
Hot.
too. I think that's great.
Yeah, so this is what you get when you order a Red Hot Chili Peppers T-shirt off Temu, guys. So
Red Hot Silly Peppers.
I saw it. Speaking of Temu,
gosh.
and I was very upset when I saw this. I saw Fenton melon vases on Temu. So know your glass. So
that should, does that Amberina, does that glow too? It should, right?
No, this is not. This is a Submerso. And
that one's nice.
This is a Murano geode. So
yeah,
look for this. And again, found it in an antique mall for I think $10. So
nice.
don't say you can't find things at an antique mall.
Oh, I killed antique malls because people they list it and they forget it. So if you're willing to dig and you go to places that people don't normally look for stuff, I've done really well in like comic books, sports cars, like collectibles, stuff that people just don't normally go to antique malls to look for is what you can do really, really good.
All right. Sarah Sells Smalls says, does dropping your free return window from 30 days to 14 days affect your top seller rating? I'm considering this.
I want to say no, but I know that in order to do 30-day, in order to be top rated, you may have to do 30 days, and then you can get the top rated plus if you have over 30 days free returns. And that's all that I'm aware of. I know I'm top rated, and I know I offer 30.
I've never considered dropping it because 30 days is kind of universal throughout the world. I mean, I kind of feel like people expect a 30-day. And at the end of the day, if they want to return it, they're going to return it.
So, yeah. So my thought process is, why do you want to drop it from 30 to 14? So is there a reason why you're considering this? Do you have a lot of returns at that 28, 29, 30? So depending on what kind of items you're selling, like if you're selling a lot of electronics, it's very common that you'll get Amazon drop shippers will buy it off you. They will sell it, and then you'll get returns from like day 25 all the way to day 30, because by the time the item gets to the buyer does it, files a claim on Amazon. The seller then does it back to you. So that's very common. So it just depends probably what you're trying to sell. But I agree with Ladonna there. Like, 30 days is pretty universal for a lot of places, a lot of retail stores. You can run your business any way you want to. But I think buyers have a better understanding and will feel more comfortable as a 30-day return policy. But like she said, buyers can open up a item is not described after 14 days and still get that return. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
So I want to put this up here. Angry Otter said just top rated plus. And I believe top rated plus is what gives you your discount on your fees, which is what I want.
Yeah.
So you would still be top rated, but you wouldn't be top rated plus. So that means you wouldn't get the extra 10% off of fees. For me, that's hundreds of dollars a month. I think there's like two categories or that I know of, like watches. I think they'll let you do 14 and you're still top rated plus. And I think like lingerie stuff, you can do 14 days. Sarah said she just thinks it takes forever because they want to return it 20 days and then it takes much longer. She's only had 4 returns, so she should calm down. I mean, like, but if they say it's not as described, they can file it on day 30 and you're still going to be forced to take it. So it doesn't really matter.
Even if they open a return at day 14, you have 14 days on. eBay gives them like 2 weeks or 3 weeks to return the item. So, I mean, it's still going to take a ton of time to get the item back. It's still going to be a pain.
Do you remember when they were giving them like 2 months during COVID?
Yeah.
Like, it was freaking stupid.
Absolutely ridiculous.
It was so stupid. Oh.
Hey, so
right.
what Rod and all of us were talking about was the 30 days plus. That's going to qualify you for the top rated plus, and you'd get the additional discount, 10% discount in the fees.
I think Kat just said that.
No, not after the question. No.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Oh, okay.
Right.
Oh,
He was
okay.
just
Oh, what she?
clarifying.
She was asking a question. Sorry.
Patricia said she put a few items on Poshmark. You made him, Rod, quit making him leave. Scammers trying to get more photos. People who have put bundles when I put an offer. The user's no longer active. How will I know if I sell something? Okay, I'm just going to take this. Like, that's what they do. They do it to everyone. It does on Posh. It doesn't matter if you're new or not, because I still get it. And I've been on there for years and sold hundreds of items.
It's a price point. They have a bot that does it automatically. They say.
No, I've had those ding dongs do it on $10 items. And I'm like,
really?
what the heck? Yeah, it's stupid. So if they comment, you'll know, like, let me show you on my Poshmark app.
My husband needs more photos. Can you please text him the photos? He wants to buy this item, but he's at work.
If you just go on your Poshmark app, like I'm on Poshmark and I clicked me, and then you just click my sales, then it'll pull up your sales. That's the only thing I would go off of. And hello phone, and Poshmark will email you and tell you you had a sale, and they'll email you the label too. If anybody asks for more photos, if they send you an email, all of that is trash. Just ignore it. I actually report it all with the little flag and put transaction off Poshmark to get rid of them. And that's probably why the user is no longer active, is because somebody else has already reported them for what they're doing, would be my guess.
Yeah, and there's one, there's a similar deal on Macari, because I was just looking to see if I had it, because it was really weird. Yeah, I don't see it, but it came across and it was saying it was a foreign language to begin with, and then it was saying you need to download some kind of weird app, which immediately, I am a programmer. I design websites, so immediately when I start seeing things that look a little weird, I was like, what is that? So I immediately just blocked that user, and then sure enough, like 5 minutes later, Macari came through and deleted the message. So be aware, it's some kind of bot out there.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Every time I list an item over $100, I get it within like the first 5 minutes. And I was
surprised I got it on the cheap stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
What are they doing?
And I just respond to them, not today, Satan, and then I report them every single time. So,
all right, Trash Cat Rescue wants to know what's your favorite guilty pleasure. Mike, she specified here that you have to be PG.
Yeah,
she must know you.
Yes, of course. Outside of picking, it's probably just spending time with my wife, like going down to the beach, going out on the boat, and kind of enjoying the sun, and that's it. Like, just don't get enough time with family. So, wife first.
Exactly. Traveling. I'm going to Ireland in a couple of months. And so, interestingly enough, I've never been to Ireland. I've been to a lot of countries, but not Ireland. So I'm pretty excited, and do that. But, we're empty nesters, so it's kind of rediscovering my spouse, so to speak, these days.
So for me, I have a problem where all my guilty pleasures turn into a business or a pleasure. I think Kat does the same thing. So I used to be a very big gamer. I have almost 2,000 video games in a collection. So I used to play a lot of old school video games, a retro gamer. And then that turned into a business. So then I went back into collecting sports cards, which, as you guys know, it's turned into a business and channels and everything else now. But I really enjoy going to sports card shows and open up packs and doing stuff like that with my dad and my brother. So that's something where I got back in when they came to visit. We always have fun doing that. But I mean, honestly, my guilty pleasure is picking. Like if I didn't do it full time, like that's what I did for fun. every single weekend. Like that was my escape from my 9-to-5 job. So like I'm able to turn my passion into, you know, my employment now, which is probably the best gift you can actually give someone. But if I have to pick something outside of that, like I love watching pro wrestling, you know, not so much as I used to, but I like watching pro wrestling now. And then traveling. I love traveling with my wife. My wife was very sheltered growing up. She didn't get to see a lot of things. So now I get to take her to all these like different places. So I like being her tour guide and showing her around. So, which is great because she's never been to Vegas. So this will be her first time going to Vegas.
Yeah, it's Brooke's first time going to Vegas as well. Dalton and I both have been to Vegas already. For me, I would say besides like, I don't feel like spending time with the kids is like a guilty pleasure per se. I like the boat too, just like Mike. We've just started going back out on the boat. We went out Sunday. Anything to do with the water. I'm done. It was the tattoo thing for a while. I'm not going to lie, but I'm done with this for a little while. No, that's a lie. I have 2 on my feet. I'm finishing.
I like you're running out of space, so you got to be done.
I am not. I have like a whole nother arm and 2 legs. I have plenty of
the Mike Tyson face tattoo next. Like
Oh,
some coral reef, going around your eye, like Mike Tyson.
I don't know if they're watching. I ended up blocking them off of my channel. I don't know if I sent it to Ladonna. I think it was on my catch treasure hunting, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I would love it if this person is watching me right now as I say this. Like my body is my body and I can do what I want with it, just like yours is yours and you can do what you want with it. And people judging me and putting that in my comments doesn't sit very well with me. So somebody commented, and I would like to know if anybody in the chat knows what this means. Please. They said, you know what they say about people with more than 3 tattoos. That's what the comment said. So my response, they told me not to get any more. My response was, I was way over 3 tattoos before I even started a sleeve. So I guess whatever they say, you know. And then they commented again with a Bible verse. And at that point, they were blocked from my channel because there is no room on my channel for politics or religion, guys. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's free. You have your opinion. I'll have mine. I don't share mine on here. I will not share mine on here.
Just causes fights.
And
so,
you know, it made me want to, like, I almost should have went and got like a henna tattoo on my face just to like,
just a mess of people.
that's what happened. Yeah, like I don't think it matters anymore. I do not intend on ever putting a tattoo on my face or my neck. I will say that. I will say that. But I might do the other arm. I might not. I typically do tattoos when I have traumatic events in my life. Every tattoo on me was after a traumatic event. This was started when my divorce started last year in August. And by the end of it, I'm like, man, I'm not mad at the world anymore. And this hurts. Am I done yet? I'll tell you, I was like, stop. So I doubt I'll get any more tattoos unless I have another traumatic event. So hopefully I don't get any more tattoos.
So I asked ChatGPT. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I just asked ChatGPT what they say about people who get more than 3 tattoos, but it's all PG-13 stuff. Nothing
I couldn't
bad.
find. I looked on Google because I'm like, what the heck does it mean? Like,
yeah.
And I mean, I really don't care. But after the Bible verse comment, they were blocked from my channel. So if they're watching now, they can watch, but they can't comment anymore. Just because I don't want my viewers getting into it. Like, I don't want me. Like, I just don't.
I put myself through college bartending, and I had the same rule at my bar, you know, because, you know, everyone has a very strong opinion. They think they're right. Regardless of, there's multiple opinions, there's multiple religions, there's multiple, and everyone has their political opinion based on how they were brought up, different things that happen in their life, and different economic levels that you're at. So it's going to vary per person, and you're going to pick your political party based on what's best for you and your family. And there's nothing wrong with that. Same thing with religion. Like, you're brought up a certain way, and you have certain things in your life that do happen that go there. So there's nothing wrong with any of that. Everyone, we can all get together. Listen, we have 300-400 people.
Friends.
Yeah, and still all be friends.
Mm-hmm.
But when this is a business for you, this is about reselling and reselling only, and we're having fun talking about other stuff. There's no need to bring other stuff in that can cause conflict. And that's the whole purpose of why you do that.
Yes.
And see,
Oh, go ahead, Ladonna, and then I stopped answering the question.
one of the things I thought was really great about growing up in Europe was I got to meet all kinds of people, from every walk of life, you name it. And what I have found throughout the years, true, what I believe in personally or in things and what you do, it's all your choice. But I found I have met some amazing people throughout my life. And if I had been so close minded about things, um, or even reselling, what if I, had some kind of issue with animals? I mean, there's a huge world out there, and you're really limiting yourself from things when you take that type of view.
Yeah, that's like I will sell animal products. Like I've sold mink coats, and some people, because of their beliefs, they won't, and that's okay. I'm not trying to tell you have to. Don't do it, but I do it. I live in the country. There's taxidermy all over the place here. There's hunting all over the place here, and some people don't agree with that, and that's okay. Okay, other guilty pleasure. I'm going to tell you guys what I've been thinking about, and then you guys can yell at me for this in the chat. So a good friend of mine is a Harley rider, and we did go to Bike Week on Saturday, and I'm really thinking about getting a motorcycle. I am very much thinking about getting a motorcycle.
Think of the Harleys, all the Harley stuff you would start selling in your store. I know, because you would buy so much, but you would literally, because it's one of those things where you don't look for it, you find it here and there.
I would learn more about it.
That's what I'm saying. So you would realize and see it all over the place now, and just have a ton more Harley stuff you'll be selling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I have several girlfriends that have Harleys. So will I see you driving by my house on the way to Sturgis?
Yeah, I'm a nurse, so I know the whole, I know the motorcycle thing. I will ride a helmet. I will wear a helmet. But I hadn't even really thought about it, even though I'd been somebody was trying to talk me into it. And then we went to the swap meet. We went to the Daytona Beach flea market and the Harley swap meet. And I saw a Harley Softail that was the prettiest friggin' motorcycle I'd ever seen. And I'm like, I could buy that bike. So yeah.
And one of my girlfriends had a Fat Boy for years that she would ride.
So maybe I've only rode I've rode dirt bikes, so I am familiar somewhat with riding. Dalton would probably not go on it unless it was riding around the yard until he's maybe 10 or 11. I wouldn't let him on it. He's just too little. All right. That went sideways. Here's another fun question. Rod, has anyone destroyed you lately on your picking and punching channel? And he said, I love watching your videos and nurse flipper videos for the female perspective of reselling.
So it's one of those things where, because I'm at yard sales a lot of times, and people don't understand that when you go to yard sales, people aren't having yard sales because they're poor and they need money to feed their family. They're having yard sales because they just want to get rid of crap and they want to blow it all out. So it doesn't matter if I pay up for items. It doesn't matter if I pay too low for items. People will complain that I paid too much, that I paid not enough money, that I ripped them off and I robbed their family. I will tell you, I'm going to have a video coming out. I've been picking. I'll give you guys a little preview. I've been picking for over 25 years of my life. And last week I had the pick of my entire life. And I filmed a lot of it. I went to a pick over 2 days, and it was absolutely incredible. And it's one of those things where I went to private pick. I literally told the buyer what these items were worth, and then we were able to cut a deal at 40 to 50% of the items. But we're talking thousands of dollars of stuff. And I know for a fact when I put out that video, I am going to get destroyed in the comments and stuff. Even though I'm literally telling the buyer what the item sold for, and the buyer's like, oh, give me, if I was $1,000, give me $500. You know what I mean? It's gonna be one of those things. And people, but I mean, we're dealing with like a lot of higher dollar items. I'll just put that. And they are going to probably rip me up in the comments. And the buyer was, I mean, the seller was super cool about it. They're like, yeah, I just want it gone, and you're gonna make money, and you're telling me you're pricing everything out for me. Then I didn't even think this stuff was worth that much money. So it was a win-win. But yeah, it doesn't matter. It's gonna happen if you put yourself out there, and it happens. So
You're gonna get told what you are without getting told what you are because you have
absolutely.
tattoos.
Yeah, that too. So
I might get my nose pierced too. Anyways, Mr. Bill said thanks. They are already buying and approved to sell on District, Mike. So they're on Dibdit Sports Commons and Dibdit Threads. So they just have to get the equipment they need to be able to sell.
awesome.
So that's what they're wanting to know. All right. What am I doing? Let's do the whale. We haven't done the whale. Thank you, Mr. Bill. All right. Look who decided to show up. Where'd you go? There you are. Mark is here with his late fee. What time? Oh, you were really late. You were 9:15. That's 4 minutes later than you normally are late. Mark always gets Rod. So let me give Rod gets played twice tonight. He's popular. Here we go.
Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time.
I'm not going to do it. He's paying attention. Don't do it, Mike. Don't do it.
I'm sorry, I don't know the etiquette.
It's habit. I don't know the etiquette either. Marsha asked, how do you video your screen? So I'm in StreamYard and I'm just hitting present on StreamYard. I don't know what you can or can't do with the free version because I do have the paid version. Does anybody have the free version of StreamYard? Can you still screen share? Does anybody know?
I don't know. I pay for mine.
I'll pay for it.
All right. So, and somebody else told us, somebody was on with us a few weeks ago, Rod, and told us another program that does it. Who was it? Was it J-Ride?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Evo Mux. One of my other friends uses that instead of StreamYard.
I mean, there's screen recording apps that you can get. So even if you can't do it through StreamYard, you can still do all your stuff in StreamYard, and there's I can't speak. Screen recording apps out there that you can add on that would help just record your screen.
All right. Laura, I think
you can do it. You know.
Oh, I haven't ever done. I think you can do a lot with Canva that I don't know how to do. Yeah. I should probably watch some Canva YouTube tutorials because I think there's a lot in Canva that I'm not aware of how to use. Laura, I think Knickknacks is just like any district. So we covered that a little bit earlier. You can do it on Android. It's very, very minimal. Most of the features are not available.
Depends what you're doing. If she's only buying, I don't think with the Android you're fine, right, Mike? With buying, no issues buying.
Not on the app.
Oh, not on the app.
Not on the app. You have to go on the computer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, you can. I mean, you can use the browser to get to the district stuff to buy if you're buying. But if you're selling, you're going to be limited with Android. You need to really, unfortunately, be using an Apple product for the selling portion.
Patty, did we miss the answer? Does anybody know where does a criminal rainbow go?
What
is that? What is a criminal rainbow?
I feel like the answer was probably right near the question and we didn't start it.
Patty's still in here. So Patty, let us know in the thing. I think that was going back to the dad jokes. I think that's what you posted in there. Oh,
yeah,
Prism.
It was probably
yes.
Patty, tell us the answer. I'm going to throw this up here. Patty says, if the bike goes over, am I strong enough to pick it up? 110%. Yes. I go to the gym 5 days a week for over a year. So yes, the answer to that is yes. I got my muscles. Does it pay to promote in eBay?
I hate promotions. I do. I hate promoting and like I'll tell you, like our podcast went to absolute crap last week because I went off the rails and everything. Because promoting to me, like the only way that we're going to bring about change is like if people just stop promoting. eBay makes money on it. It's like eBay saying, "Hey, we've got a perfect storefront for you," and then you get all moved in and you get your shop set up, and then like, okay, if you want some customers, we own this billboard over here. I'm like, no, dude, just how about you just fix the curbs and let people drive up to me, okay? I don't need extra. Like, I'll keep it at that.
I don't do promoted, but then again, I'm not, I'm in antiques and vintage, so you're not always going to find hundreds of my items out there.
You have to pay to play. I hate to say that, but if everyone else is promoting, you should probably be promoting. I promote roughly around 2%. It just depends what kind of items you're selling. If you're selling mall brand clothing and where there's an overabundance and there's a lot more that are listed than are sold, you're going to have to promote at a higher percentage. But if you're listing items that have a fast sell-through rate at a competitive price, honestly, you don't have to promote. Like Kamala Picker and ADH Dave didn't promote their listings when they were selling on there. But they were also listing the stuff very competitively or right at market value. Mm-hmm. So it just depends on kind of how you run your business and way you do it. For me, I pretty much promote everything around the 2 to 3%.
The answer to the joke was to a pot of lead.
Oh, pot of lead. Okay.
Oh.
I say promote. I actually, when my sales dipped, went back up. I had went down to 9%. I went back up to 10%. I would rather pay, let's say, $100 more in fees to get $3,000 more in sales. That's me. I would rather move volume, and my bottom line is more profit and more money because I'm paying more fees. If you have a storefront, you're going to be paying for advertising. You would be paying for a newspaper or a radio ad or whatever, Instagram ads. It's the same thing. And Poshmark's 20% fees. I sell on Poshmark. Why would I not put promoted up my eBay fees to match the Posh? And they don't all sell promoted. Now, I will tell you the last time I looked over it, it was about 70%. It was pretty darn high that did sell promoted. But I buy so cheap. I buy at 10%. Most of the time, max 20. I'm okay paying 20% in fees because I still got 60% left over for profit. And again, the more I sell, the more money I make. It really depends on your business model and how much you spend. I say if you buy low, I would promote because it's gonna get you more sales, guaranteed. I guarantee you it will get you more sales. eBay seller 965 wants to know, do you use QuickBooks to keep track of everything, or is there an app that makes it all easier?
I use QuickBooks. I won't say I use QuickBooks. My wife's an accountant, so she uses QuickBooks for me, and that's because she's familiar with it. We tried My Reseller Genie during the early days, and the capabilities were limited as far as what I was looking to do, because QuickBooks, you can track your mileage, you can just tie this card into this, and every time you swipe it, it goes in there. So if you have a debit card and a credit card that are linked to your just strictly business, it makes sense 100%. But with that being said, My Reseller Genie has those capabilities now. So I'm not opposed to them as well. Paul and Faith are absolutely great. Have some very, very informative videos and excellent customer service. So you cannot go wrong with either one, in my opinion.
Oh, Prism. They go to Prism, but they only get a light sentence time to reflect on their actions. Oh, dear Lord.
That's funnier than pot of lead.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Hi, Jane.
So, yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I say My Reseller Genie. You can use my code, the Nurse Flipper. That's my code like everywhere. Try it. It doesn't matter. Just try it everywhere. It was funny. Somebody tried it on something I didn't have it on. I'm like, I need to contact them because people are trying to use my code. Paul and Faith were on with us last week and did a demonstration as well. So if you missed that, check out last week's show. I use an accountant that I pay very, very heavily for. And they download all of the forms. And I think they probably do use QuickBooks. But if you're a newer seller, my reseller Jeannie will pull everything in and formulate all of the forms and everything, reports that you need. Rod, what are you using QuickBooks? What are you doing?
I have used QuickBooks. I have dabbled with my resell Jeannie. So I use my accountant now too. So I have multiple things I do use in my business in the past. We're kind of switching things over right now because I had my accountant died and I get a new accountant. So we're in the process of kind of figuring out what works best for the business and how they want me to do it.
That works. I just make mine do everything. D. Bernard wants to know, do you think it's poor customer service if you tell a customer no returns if you get a deep discount? For example, if they get 50% off, you're not going to do returns.
I don't see any means to do that. Like if you're talking 50% off and your buyer sold comp, like your sold comps are up there, the only thing that I would do to be competitive is take 10% off and then instead of promoting. That way the customer gets that 10% versus eBay getting it. But no, with that particular situation, no, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not it's kind of an all or nothing scenario, and I'm assuming maybe it was an offer or something that ended up with that type of deep discount. But at the end of the day, you got to remember, I mean, if they want to return it, they can find a way to return it, no matter what.
So if your account's already set up with returns on it, you can't tell the buyer no returns. That's not going to supersede the policies you have set up on your eBay account. So, but I have been in situations where I've been a buyer and I've gotten a 50% discount because it was an electronic item or the seller wasn't sure if it could work. He tried in the past, but he didn't have a way to test it. So they gave me a big discount. So, hey, I'm selling as is, you get a discount. So I can see that aspect of it. But when it comes to like an eBay listing, you have to go by the policy you have set up in that listing before you send out that offer. So if you're going to put a deep discount on an item, you might want to change the no returns on the item to start off with and then put the deep discount on. But you can't send the buyer an offer, say for 50% off, and then tell them no returns on that if you already have returns up in your account.
Yeah, and Angry Otter's right. eBay's going to let them return it anyways. If they open it for not as described, they're going to let it come back anyways. I do free 30-day returns regardless, and I do 50% off on offers I send on stuff older than a year, and I do still accept returns. I don't think it's like a poor customer service thing. Like, that's just my policy, period. Doesn't matter the discount. Majority of the time, I would say 95% of the time, even at 50%, I'm making a profit. So I like, and again, eBay is going to force a return. Mercari and Posh will too, if it's something you didn't disclose. And they have been a little more buyer friendly lately, which irks me because they used to be more seller friendly on both those, Posh and Mercari. But yeah. All right, Rod, out of your 1,400 listings, how many are cards? And is eBay the only avenue for selling cards?
So we live in a crazy world when it comes to cards. You can pretty much sell them almost everywhere. Out of my 1,400 listings, I would probably say between 50 and 100, a very small portion of them are cards. A lot of my cards I do move through live selling, and I only static list my higher end cards because even if I have cards that are 20, 25 bucks and I go to a live selling, and if I sell for 15 bucks, that's a quick flip for me right away instead of sitting on there for 2-3 months that someone comes and buys a card for 25 bucks. I'd rather just quick move it and rinse and repeat. With cards, you can pretty much sell on eBay, Mercari, you can sell on CompC, Fanatics, whatnot, debit cards. There's like bulk card seller. There's so many. You can go to card shows. There's card shows every weekend in Florida. Every single weekend, anywhere in Florida, you can find a card show. Local flea market. I mean, when we went to the List Perfectly event back in 2013, we had an eBay representative there, He said in the first quarter they sold, I think, like $900 million worth of sports cards in the
Wow.
first quarter. It was the #1 selling category on eBay. So it's a very, very fast moving market. And even not just sports cards, but even non-sports cards like Pokemon stuff is super hot. You see all the news, all the fights bringing out Costco's where they're stocking, and you have all the people out there just fighting over the Pokemon cards. So it's a crazy world. I say cards are super hot right now across all fronts.
All right. Kristen says this is her first time having an order the buyer didn't pick up at the post office. So she just received it back from USPS because they never picked it up. No word from the buyer. She wants to know our thoughts. Her plan is to refund the buyer and relist the item. And she said, dang, it was a nice sale.
See, my first time on the order buyer, sorry, it was a lot of it was coming out around. My first time on the order buyer didn't pick up at a PO. Ladonna, if you want, go ahead and then I'll come back to me. Please, ma'am.
I guess before I would refund them, I might reach out to them first, to see what was going on. But yeah, I've never had that happen before.
Okay. Now that I've taken in everything, this is actually
it's
happening.
processed right now for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm from the South. I'm old. Okay, I got a little bit of gray. It's right here. A little salt and pepper. But so this has happened. It's actually come to me. I went to the buyer, came back to me as rejected from the post office. They failed to deliver to his apartment, and I guess they left a little slip. He never turned it in. I messaged them back. I let them know, hey, this item came back to me. They said there was an issue with the delivery. He asked if I could send it back. I sent it back on my own dime just to do it. But at the same time, it was an order that I'd paid so much on. I didn't want the complication, but I would rather somebody that was a new buyer like he was have a good experience on an early transaction.
Yeah, I've had this happen multiple times over the years, and either the postal service or UPS put a sticker on their door, and then they just got busy and forgot to go pick it up. I've had people that said that they never saw the sticker. I had people that were hospitalized and then were in the hospital for weeks or a month or something like that, and they reached back out to me later on. I have situations where I think my buyer has died, to be completely honest with you. I hate to say that. But what's that funny?
Shouldn't laugh at that. I really shouldn't laugh.
But no, it happened. They got me laughing. But yeah, no, just turn your camera off, okay? But that's happened, So anytime a situation like that, when I get back, I don't refund the buyer. I send them a message. Maybe I send a second message, and I'll just wait. I mean, because it's one of those situations where a buyer has actually reached out to me like 3 weeks or a month later to say, hey, sorry, I had XYZ happen. I had a death in the family, or I was hospitalized. And then I did the same thing Mike does. If it's, especially if it, like it says in your thing here, that was pretty much a good sale. So I would just send it back to them and give good customer service. I take a little less, but at the end of the day, like the buyer, life happens, and we've all been there before. So if you can take care of someone and make it work, but I said I wouldn't issue a refund unless you have contact with the buyer or the buyer requested a refund. At that point in time, you did the work, you put the hard time in, you listed it, you sold it, and you collected the money for it. Something else could have happened.
So I've had it happen only a few times. Twice the buyer contacted me and they had forgot to change the address.
Oh, yeah, that one.
So if it's not a lot, I'll send it back, especially if it was a higher dollar sale. And then one time, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm gonna be honest. I got it back and it was like, I don't know, like $100 item. And they left me positive feedback and I just kept the money and relisted it. Because I think they were buying so much, they had no clue what the heck was going on. And I'm like, well, they left positive feedback. I'm just gonna, and I kept it and they never contacted me. I think it was somebody just do it. All right. LaDonna, everybody would like to know the cat's name and the info on the cat.
Okay. So this is my 19-pound Ollie. He is a rather naughty kitty at times. I had to childproof my house over that cat. I'm
That
not
sounds
kidding.
like,
He opens.
and he's a
He
ginger
opens.
too.
Yeah, he opens cabinets. He opens. Well, the other ginger ran. Um, he will get up on the French drawer refrigerator, and he can get ice if he wants to. He has turned on the faucet at times. So he is a bit of a naughty little boy.
Turned on the faucet. That's funny.
Yeah,
Honey is
yeah.
bad. Honey is so bad. The blind cat, and it's actually been a year. We got him on leap year last year. It popped up in my memories, and he was like so skinny then. And that little sucker still. And Brooke has noticed it's if we move stuff around or like we get new furniture, he goes crazy and he hides under the tables. He attacks you. He'll attack the dogs. He attacks Dalton. Like he's wild. And like, but he's smart. He's super smart. So when everybody's like, "Oh, the poor blind cat," I'm like, "No, he's not a poor blind cat. He's very capable and he's a hot mess." All right. Kenneth wants to know, as a new seller, would you price the same item as others on eBay, higher, the same, or lower?
Lower, 100%. Especially if you're coming in, you don't have feedback. People are going to be hesitant about that. And it also depends on like what kind of category you're in, because you may have to be even more competitive. As we talked about the promoted listings earlier, they're going to put a lot of people, like if it's a heavily promoted category, there's going to be a lot of people before you, and they're going to have to scroll down to find your thing. But you want to price it at a point where they see the value in the discount versus questioning the condition of the item. So I would shoot for something like 10 to 15% below the average sold comp.
So this is an interesting dilemma, because one of the things that frustrates me the most as a vintage antique reseller are people that undervalue items, because that really brings down the market price on items. So it's really going to depend on what it is that you're selling. I like to be competitively priced, but there have been occasions where I have recognized people are not selling an item for what it's worth. And I don't know if it's because they don't know what it is, exactly what the reasons are. Sometimes I will do better on Etsy with that item than eBay.
So I think in your situation is you're trying to sell directly to the end user, where other people may just be trying to flip it just to move it on there too. So you have situations like that. I would say, if Mike made a good point, if you're brand new and have very low feedback, I would pretty much be the lowest listed item on there, because I want to sell a bunch of items to increase my feedback. So then people will start to trust me as a verified seller before I start listing bigger items on there. That's something I would probably do right in the very beginning. I would list, slightly below comps just to try to move a couple items to get some positive feedback to my account. Now, when it comes to, I think it really comes down to your buy costs. You make your money in the buy, not the sell. So if you're buying at a very cheap price and you can undercut people and still make the same profit margins as anyone else's, then more power to you. I hate to say this, but reselling is a race to the bottom a lot of times. There's certain people that will keep their prices high, just like Ladonna said, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Because she knows the market of that. Like Kat would say, like, even if an item has sold recently for an X amount of dollars, but it's sold for the past 10 years at a higher price, just because people are undercutting the market doesn't mean that item's not going to sell for a higher price. You can still list it at a higher price. So it's really going to come to your based on your business model. But I would say, as a new seller, the biggest mistake new sellers do is they don't keep the cash flow coming in. So if you're new, and if a lot of new sellers, not saying your situation, a lot of new sellers, the problem they have is they work off unlimited cash flow. And the biggest mistake a lot of people make is that they're inventory rich and cash flow poor, meaning that they have a ton of inventory. They have all this money invested in the inventory. But when people come and try to make a big buy, because someone says, "Hey, you had the buy of a lifetime. This is going to cost you $2,000." They don't have that $2,000, even though they have tens of thousands of dollars probably into their inventory. So as a new seller, you gotta be very careful to do that. So I would say you have to have a balance, but you have to keep the cash flow coming in, and you don't want to sit on items. You want to have high sell-through rate, focus on high sell-through rate, focus on quality items, and you can price that at market price, and they're going to move fast. So you don't have to undercut people a lot of times if you have fast-selling items. But remember, you make your money in the buy, not to sell.
Yeah, so I normally go within like right at the same or like a tiny bit lower, and by that I mean like $1. Not like some big amount, but I have had a few things that I priced lower that I couldn't find other stuff on, and when I ended and sold similar, I like tripled the price and they sold within a month. So sometimes you got to be careful, because if you price stuff too low, people think something's wrong with it and they're not going to buy it. So I try and come in pretty darn close. And that's where, for me, I think your title, your pictures are what's going to sell yours over other people's first. Also, feedback and location. When I'm buying, I look at location. I will sort by those closest to me because I want to get my stuff faster, which you can't necessarily control. But yeah, so I try and be right around the same typically.
I think one other thing too is how your store is set up. Like, for example, like if I go to Cat Store or the Donna store, they're going to have a lot of high-end, high-dollar items in their store where you can get a high dollar for those items because you know that they're an experienced person. They have a setup. This is stuff they sell. They're an expert in this. So they can ask those higher prices for items. So it depends on how the store's set up. But if I have an everything store and I'm going to buy, I always use this example of buying a camera. I would pay a premium for a camera if I went to an eBay store and the guy had 1,000 cameras in there, because I'm going to know he's a camera expert. He's probably going to answer all my questions, and he knows what he's doing. Compared to going to someone else, like a Joe Schmo store where he has, 100 items in there, and then one's a camera and everything else is going to be just stuff laying around the house. He may just bought the camera, wants to move it. So I'm going to be more trustworthy buying a high dollar camera from a camera expert store than I would from just someone randomly on there. So I think your store also impacts the kind of prices you can get.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Rod, you're very popular tonight. Do you ever find classic comics? They were the only ones we were allowed to read.
Yeah, I do come across them a lot. They're like the classic comics. They range from I think the 40s up into the 60s or 70s, and they have a bunch of different illustrations and different books of them. But a lot of them, from my understanding, the price some out there are a lot high dollar value, but I do find a lot that aren't very valuable. So,
all right, Mike, now your turn. What is your coolest find this week?
Ooh, I can, as a clothing person, I absolutely hate clothes. I'm sorry, everybody out there that does this stuff. I absolutely hate clothes, which is a great reason why Rod, Kevin, and Dave and Carrie allowed me to partner with them on Dibdit Threads and bring me on. Is because I have a willingness to sell anything that's under $100 and not one listing. I'll start it for $1 to get it gone. And I was coming across this nonstop single stitch, like Wrangler Pearl Snap shirts and 1960s jeans. But my coolest out of all of that, and I mean, what do they call it? Not J. Crew. I don't know, designer brands that were single stitch. But dumb as this sounds, all the value there. It was an Alf single stitch that says "I love cats" or something. But it was Alf single stitch shirt. I just thought that was super cool to come across it.
I used to love that show. All right. Patty wants to know if I saw George's teaching vlog. If you guys do not know, George is the antique nomad. I did not, and I hardly ever, really never watch YouTube. I just don't have the time, unfortunately. But I appreciate George mentioning. I mention George a lot too. George is a walking encyclopedia. That man knows everything, except for how to ship furniture, which I know. But yeah, so thank you for letting me know. I talk to George occasionally. He's become one of my good friends through YouTube over the years, both in person and like just texting. But it's one of those, like, we won't talk for 3 months and then we talk like we didn't miss a beat. I have a lot of friends like that, because I think everybody gets busy and, you know, no fault, no blame, and then you talk like you just talked yesterday. All right, Kelly wants to know, this is a good question. If anybody can recommend a course for learning how to use Canva to its fullest. I was just talking about, I bet there's a ton of stuff I bet Canva offers that I don't know how to use.
I'm not sure on the course. I've seen some ads pop up on Facebook, but my suggestion with everything, and I mean, that's from fixing drywall to painting a fence or whatever, go to YouTube. YouTube will have an answer to everything. They have other content creators that are like experts in each field, and you can find your answer there. For me, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. There was one guy that I have watched quite a bit for Canva, but yeah, if you just Google on YouTube Canva tutorials, there's tons of them out there, and some of them like have them set up in a series, you know, for like an intro, and then just keep advancing you. And that's even what I tell my customers. You know, I do. I support Microsoft 365, and I always have my customers wanting teaching moments and stuff on the software. And I'm always like, you know, at the end of the day, YouTube is your friend.
So there are a lot of things out there that you can take courses on and stuff like that. But just like everyone said here, the YouTube is going to be the biggest free pool of knowledge you can get.
Mm-hmm.
And I have self-taught myself how to use Canva. I've self-taught myself how to use, you know, Endshot, how to use.
How do you think you use it to its fullest potential?
Do I use my fullest potential? I would say to a point. I mean, I'm still learning stuff on a day-to-day basis for what I need. I mean, what I would recommend is going to YouTube, type in the 10 best tips for Canva, and that's going to give you the basis to start off with. And then when you need, like, hey, how do I add this image, or how do I blur my face, or that's why I just started learning stuff. Am I using it to the full potential? Of course not. Even if you take a course, you're not going to learn to the full potential, because you would have to be in there 8 hours a day to use it to the full potential. I'm going to use it to the full
they have like
potential.
slideshows and presentations, and like there's just so much stuff that like I've never used it for.
This is what I'll tell you.
It's like I tell my customers. I'm always like, when they ask me, you know, to teach them how to use Teams and stuff, and I'm like, well, what is it that you want to do? Because I could do training for days and still not hit on what they were looking for.
I will say this: if you think about buying a course, the advantage of having courses, everything's curated for you right there. So if you don't want to put the effort in looking on YouTube, trying to search everything and try to find this, which takes minutes or 5-10 minutes to do that, then spend the $50, $100, buy the course, because everything's gonna be curated in one spot for you. Just click on it, easy to go, and that's some people need that. You know what I mean? But for me, there's so many out there, because there's so many different teachers on YouTube are going to show you how to do the same thing multiple different ways. And that's why I like YouTube is the best tool. And that's literally why we have our business and why we have this, you know, this show on here. I mean, you guys may not like Kat, may not like me. There's 10 other people that are going to give you the same information we're going to give you, just in a different way or different presentation.
Yeah, I wanted to say, I just typed, oh, wait, in the comment. What George's video was George's presentation at my learning camp in Orlando like 3 years ago. He actually texted me and said, Kat, I'm going to put the video out from the presentation that I did at your camp in Orlando. It's been almost 3 years, so that's what it is. So yeah, I just remembered George texted me that he was putting that out. So that he was teaching at a camp that I was putting on when that video was made. I am one of the people that will pay for a course to save the time. I don't want to be searching and searching and searching and searching. But I don't know a course for Canva. If I learn one though, Kelly, I'll message you. I know I have you on Instagram, because like I said, I would like to, I feel like there are probably features I could use that I don't know about. And I will tell y'all, Brooke has been driving me crazy to do another learning camp, and I don't know. And I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot to put on an event. It really is. And I got a lot of flashback for it. And I think I lost money. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're charging for da da da." I lost money. And got a bunch of crap talked about me because I was charging for stuff. But yeah, I might. It's hard. A lot of stuff's hard now that Dalton's in school, which he's been in school almost 3 years. But before Dalton was in school, me and Dalton used to go everywhere. We went to Pennsylvania several times to hang out with Jocelyn Crazy Lamp Lady. We went to Birmingham, Alabama to go sourcing. A lot of different places before Dalton started school. But now that he's in school, that limits our traveling.
I would also say too, a lot of people that are, if you go on YouTube and you do search for Canva videos, a lot of people that are experts on there may have their own courses. So you may find someone on there first that you like their style, how they teach, and then they may offer like additional courses and stuff like that to do. So
yeah, for sure. Let's see. Marcella wants to know if you're selling on Whatnot or Dibbed It, how do you get an invoice for the buyer? Do you need a printer?
No, you don't need a printer. You can download the file. So all you would have to do, like, say, for instance, you just go to your seller dashboard. I want to verify this information. You'll go to your seller dashboard, and then you'll click your sales tab on the left-hand side. It populates everything you've sold. And then in the top right, you'll see an export. You can download that file and then just save that to include with your tax returns, or utilize that to pair up with any other Excel formatted form to figure out your income.
Well, but in an invoice, I mean, I don't normally send invoices.
That's for Dibbed. Sorry.
Myself. Yeah.
So on Whatnot, if you go to print your shipping label, it automatically prints a shipping invoice too as well.
You
With
can
it.
decide. You can ask it to just print labels or print invoice and labels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but on District, you don't. You print your shipping label. I mean, I've never had anybody ask me for an invoice.
Yeah, but as far as doing individual receipts on Dibbed, you can't do it. But you can populate everything that shows 7 days, 30 days, a year, all that stuff that has all your invoice information.
Yeah, and some people will ask for it. I got asked I would say 3 to 5 times on Whatnot, but that's out of like 10,000 sales. And I just told them I don't send invoices. They can print their invoice. They can see their invoice on their end. Mm-hmm. I don't send any invoices with my eBay sales either. Like, most people just throw it out anyways. And if they need it for tax purposes or whatever, they can print it or they can download it from their end. It's available to them as well to download.
See, for me, it made it easier for me to ship because all my stuff was the same weight. So I just do bulk. I print off my labels in bulk, and then I would print off the shipping label with it. So then when I go to rip it, I just knew exactly what the item was. I just threw it in the bag. So that helped me when I went to ship stuff. But.
All right, let's see. Is there a way that you can find each platform's fees all in one place? eBay's fees are different depending on category. So there's no flat fee for eBay. Mercari, I believe, is like 10 plus a payment fee. It ends up about 12%. Etsy, I think Etsy's less, isn't it? But it's variable too. I think a lot of them are variable by category.
Yeah.
Not only by category, by the price you sell it, because you may get charged 15% under, say, $7,500, but then after that, the fees actually change on eBay the higher the sale is. So you're not getting charged 15% on an item that you sell for over $10,000. So it's going to vary not only the category, but also the amount you sell an item for.
Well, and then on Etsy, if you get featured in one of their ads, and it's separate from signing up for the ad service. If they feature your item on an ad, you will get charged.
And you don't have a choice. You
right.
have to do
it's nominal. It's nominal. But it was kind of cool. The other day I found 3 of my products popped up on an Etsy ad. I was like, oh, wow, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think there is anywhere, but I don't think it's that simple. I think that's why there isn't.
Yeah.
Becky's Vintage, has anyone heard whether StreamYard has cut their free hours? Does anybody know the answer to this?
No, I pay for mine, so I have no idea.
Yeah, same.
I don't know either. Chai wants to know, what's the longest conversation you've had with a crazy buyer on eBay for entertainment purposes?
Oh, I don't for entertainment. No, I don't like people enough to prolong talking to strangers. All y'all are great out there, by the way.
Yeah, it's good thing you have a podcast, you know?
Yeah. I thought, real strangers that want something from me.
Ladonna,
I think the longest was about 20 emails with a customer talking to me about how to ship an item, and kept assuring them things were going to be fine. It was going to be shipped appropriate, and they kept sending me emails on how to package it. I mean, to extreme detail, to the point that my husband was like, "You're gonna email them and let them know I drop kicked it on the way to the post office."
So for me, not for entertainment purposes, just because it was just a mess. And you have those situations where I had a Sega Genesis that I sold to some lady, and I had to make a whole video about it on YouTube. It was ridiculous, but I sold a Sega Genesis box, and if you guys don't know, like the collectible retro video game systems boxes can be worth just as much as the systems, because people got those boxes, they threw them away. But they opened the returns that didn't work, and then like in the background you can see like the box is like ripped in half, and then they sent me pictures of their feet and pictures of their medicine, and like they posted it on my eBay, like, and they're like, when they left me negative feedback, they posted pictures of their feet and like their medicine. It was a ridiculous, very ridiculous statement case.
Go fill your refill. Go refill your Prozac, lady.
Yes, it was just one of those things where it just kept going on and just down that rabbit hole. And you want to stop. It's entertaining, but yet you have other things to do. It's just one of those black holes. You get sucked in and just goes. It went on for probably like 2 or 3 days. So.
Yeah, so my patience is very little, typically. If it's a crazy buyer that has not bought yet, my patience is virtually non-existent, and I will block them. And if they bought, I will answer until I'm answering the same question over and over, and then I just stop. Like there's just no point in being redundant. So it doesn't, like, for me, it's not entertaining. It's annoying. I'm just like, go away. But yeah. All right, guys, it is time for us to wrap it up. So I'm going to let Mike and Ladonna tell you bye, what they have going on. Rod and myself will as well. And yeah, so here's Mike.
Hey, thank you everybody for tuning in. Kat, Rod, thank you both very much for the invitation here. I'm glad that I could fill in. Make sure to go check me out here on YouTube at Deathpile Picker. And you can also find me over on Reseller Leftovers Podcast and eBay store, Deathpile Picker. And over on District, I'll be running a couple shows this week with some pop culture items over on Dibdit this Thursday. And then I've got multiple shows on Dibdit Threads Wednesday, Friday, and then hopefully I can fill some stuff in on Saturday. But that's over on Dibdit Threads or Dibdit. That's DIBDIT.com. There you go, Kevin. I spelled it out. And that's it, folks.
All right. Here's Miss Ladonna.
First of all, Kat, Rod, thank you for inviting me. Always a pleasure. I have gotten crazy busy lately. So on top of my full-time job, Cheryl Shiny Squirrel, and I have started doing weekly shows on District on VAMP, Virtual Antique Marketplace.com, 11 Wednesdays. And Thursday, I'll be on again with Cheryl on Beth, Carolina Princess Sweet Treats and Pretties. We're going to do some quick claim items as a way to clear out some inventory. That's going to be at 4:30 Central on Best Channel. Then we have Claims to Profit meetup coming up the weekend of the 28th. And then we're going to have a jewelry blowout with 5 sellers on YouTube on Best channels as well. So March is shaping up to be a busy month.
Rod, what's going on your 10 channels?
So I just dropped a brand new video on I'm picking and punching cards. I dropped that right before this was on. Tomorrow morning, we'll drop a brand new episode on the No Banger Sports Card Podcast with me, Tim Over the Years, and Carrie from American Arbitrage Cards. Tomorrow night, I'll drop a video on picking and punching. Wednesday is already done. I'll drop a video on flipping and punching. And then I'll drop another video on my card channel on Friday. So it's a lot of stuff going out this week. And then I'll have a whole nother thing of videos going out next week. Remember, Mean Cat will not be here next week because we will be speaking at the Boss Reseller Mix. And we will be doing some massive raid trains coming up here at the end of the month on Dibbit cards and also Dibbit threads. So if you guys are listen, and I know a lot of you guys are out there go thrifting and you guys are clothing sellers, go over to Dibbit threads. We're about to hit 1,000 users, and we're getting some good live shows there, and you guys are getting on the ground floor, and it's been growing tremendously. We've only been open a month. We almost have 1,000 users now, so we're getting a lot of good sales over there. So highly recommend if you guys are clothing sellers, go check it out.
Yeah, so as Rod stated, we will not be here next week. Both he and I will be speaking in Las Vegas. I think we're both flying out this weekend for Vegas. So if you're near Vegas, come and see us for sure. I'm putting it now. I just dropped a video. I saw a couple people already saw. I dropped it at 10 on my Cat's Treasure Hunting channel for you guys to watch that. And tomorrow will be a what sold video for me. And then Friday is going to be a high dollar what sold. And then I've got some really, really good research videos coming up. I have it written down. I did Denmark jewelry. I did tiles, which was really, really good. I did Russian jewelry, and then I did Art Deco jewelry. So those are the ones that are going to be coming up for the next couple of weeks. And lucky Jesus, we're good. Like, if you message me on Instagram, I'll meet up with you somewhere in Vegas. Like, you don't have to come to the event to see me. I'm there from Saturday or Sunday evening until Saturday morning. So just message me. If you guys are in Vegas, I'm more than happy to meet and hang out outside of it. I know some people can't afford the tickets, so definitely hit me up on Instagram. Me and Brooke and Dalton are going to be running around. You might have to come to the kids museum or something, or go hop on a all-terrain vehicle and ride around with us. I don't know, but I will find a way to meet and hang out for sure, other than at the event. And thank you guys. Mike, thanks for coming last minute. Miss Ladonna, same thing. I appreciate it. Rod, I will see you next week in person. So we will be gone next week. I am not having somebody fill in like we did. I might thrift, but the suitcases are pretty expensive on Spirit. So if I thrift with you, you have to ship it to me. That's the deal. I'm
going sourcing in Vegas. I will be making videos sourcing in Vegas. So I'm excited.
With art, hopefully.
Yeah, I might, but somebody's going to have to ship it to me because the suitcase charges no joke. And I waited too late and couldn't even get a carry-on. All the carry-on space is full on my flight. I could not get a carry-on. I looked today, which sucks. But anyways, thank you guys. We could not do the show without you, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks from today. Bye, guys.